Hello, good morning, everyone. Good afternoon, depending on where you are. um, I will wait, I think, a couple of minutes here to see if more people jump in the call. As you saw, we are recording this as well. But I just want to give a chance for more people to join. I hope everyone is doing well. Okay, well, I think we'll get started here. We have a lot to talk today. Welcome, everybody. So this is the initial meeting to think about our conference and the presentations that we're going to give in our conference. And I think there is a lot of information that we want to share with you. So we are here today with Christy and Tracy. So you all know Christy by now, right? If you're working in our project. But you probably may not know Tracy Arrington. She teaches here at the Moody College of Communication at UT, and she's going to be the coach. Can I call you the coach?
Sure.
Yeah. So she's going to help us through the presentations and giving advice on not so much on how you present, but also on that, but also how we are going to shape this presentation and how the presentation flows. So she's going to attend all our calls, and she's going to be on the second part of today's meeting. Like I have part one. You'll have to put up with me, but then it gets better with Tracy on the second part. And so I think, here's the plan. We are going to share some information about the conference and format, guidelines, discuss timeline, deliverables, all the logistics that we need to talk. And then Tracy is going to talk more on, setting up a presentation, setting up, we call setting the stage, but it's how you get ready for this process. Tracy, do you want to just introduce yourself, say something to the group before I get started with my part?
Sure. Hi, everybody. I'm Tracy. I see a couple of familiar faces. I have been working with CII for several years now, actually. My day job, actually I have more than one day job. I own a data strategy and infrastructure focused company, digital transformation. I've been teaching at UT for nearly 10 years, focused on media and analytics and AI, which is great, amazing work. But I also spend a lot of time helping folks that work in STEM fields, highly technical in nature, translate their work so that it can be more readily adopted by decision makers with MBAs. So do a lot of public speaking, a lot of coaching. It is the best part of any given day or week. I just love the work and have been working with research teams at CII for more than a year now. We prepared for the conference last year, for the spring conference this year. And really my role is just to help you make the best possible use of your time on stage. So talking through like story architecture in your presentation, how to make it really impactful and hard hitting and a little bit of fun. Nobody wants to go to a conference where, the presentation is not engaging, and the work you all are doing is so important. We need people to hear you and to make sure they take away and take next steps that we want them to take so that the work is as impactful as it possibly could be. So I am here for whatever you might need, starting today and running all the way through August. And even if it's just a small question of what do you think about this, send me a note. We can jump on a call. Basically here to support everybody here on the call.
Thank you, Tracy. I mean, I'm really glad to have Tracy on board. This is quite an intensive process, right? We'll go through probably 4 rehearsals with each team. So it's a lot of time. I think, we are thankful for having you all presenting in our conference. So it's, my thank you for you all for being here and helping. We are aware that it's a time-consuming commitment. We think that adds a lot of value to the conference, right? I think some people have a good personal experience in developing this story, right? It's not something you do every day in trying to think a lot about the best way to kind of sell your idea, right? I think particularly the academic folks on the side of the academic research may not spend certainly so much time. But even the industry people may not spend so much time. Like maybe you are more in the engineering function, right? It's not something you are doing every day. So it may be exciting, I think, like to go through this process. And I think my sense is that people enjoy, although it's time consuming. And I hope you enjoy. I hope you have a process that will make you feel like, yeah, you are learning something about how you share your ideas, and adding value to the conference. So let me move on here. Here's our team. There are other people here. Christy is here. Michael. I'm not sure Amelia is here. Amelia. So, just say Tracy said what she's gonna do already. No, I'm not gonna do much, I guess. But Christy, you all know Christy because she coordinates everything that happens with the projects, and she'll continue to coordinate, right? And Christy, you are going to go after them, right? If they don't deliver things on time. So Christy she's going to do that.
I will do my best.
Okay. And Amelia helps us a lot here, reviewing a lot of the things you submit. And, and Michael Burns, if you haven't worked much with him, you will, as we publish the reports, and he can help with the slides to some extent. We'll talk more about that. We have a graphic designer to do that. But Michael will also most likely be the AV contact at the conference. So he'll review your report, but he'll also interface with you at the stage. So this is our team that will work with you. Our goal is really to get a compelling delivery of results, right? And we do that in different formats. The presentation is one, and that's, I think, our focus. But also the knowledge base page. If you haven't heard about it, you will. It's a web page that CII will develop, but we need content for that, and a report, a document, right? So these are what they call the deliverables of this process. Annual conference, we still haven't defined where the conference is. We have 3 options right now, and all of them have availability for the first week of August, 1st through the 3rd. We are leaning towards Cleveland. I think there is a site visit this week. And so I would say Cleveland is the most likely at this point. I hear that if there are no red flags, we will not even visit the 2 others. So, there is a good chance that it's Cleveland, but 99% of chance that it is in the first week of August. I think we are a little bit late on this process, as you can assume by this uncertainty of the location. So a lot of this here is what we expect to happen based on previous years, okay? And there aren't many reasons why we'll change. Like we've been doing a single session for many years now, no breakout sessions. So if you presented a long time ago, we always had breakout sessions and shorter single session presentations. In the last 5 years, at least, we have been doing a single session. Typically, we get 500-600 people. I think last year we got 400 in Florida. Hopefully we'll get more people coming out of the pandemic, right? Knock on wood that we are coming out of the pandemic. Each team makes one presentation. 45 minutes is our estimate. I think next time we meet, we'll have more certainty on that. On what else is in the agenda and how much time we have for the teams. But it's been 45 for a few years now, and we have about the same number of teams presenting, and that includes Q&A. And then normally the team, after each presentation, meets with the audience, like in a space we call meet the VIP. But we will confirm this shortly, that we'll continue to have that. So these are the projects that the team's presenting this year. We have some shorter projects and some longer projects, so we are also open to discuss shorter presentations where it makes sense. So normally, I think a 2-year project would do the longer presentations for sure, but it's, we may consider shorter presentations depending on what each team thinks. So we'll work with you on that. And talking about special, what I'm going to talk today is I'll call the baseline process. Okay, and I think we are glad to talk to each team, to adjust to your, it may be the case that you can go faster than other teams because you have a super committed, team with a lot of time available to work, or maybe you need more rehearsals, or so I think we want to work with you to adjust. I don't want to impose something that doesn't make sense to everyone. So be open to look at the standard process that we're going to propose with 4 rehearsals, and then we can adapt as you go forward. And I know that at least one team here already presented their project somewhere else, so they may not definitely need the same amount of time, right? So just know that we are open to discuss this process. Very early to talk about travel guidelines, but I want to touch it. We'll give more updates as we meet in the future with more definitions. We'll have an early bird registration, and we encourage you all to take advantage of that. We don't give discounts to presenters. So we do have an academic rate. We still don't know how much that is, but we'll have that. We'll have obviously a room block deadline that we encourage you to observe. And this is details academics charge the projects, and this is repeated, so I should delete this. And normally the way the week happens is, normally people arrive, and I don't know if I got the dates wrong here. Normally on the Monday, we have meetings, and then we have a reception in the evening to open the conference, and we have full day present 2 full days on Tuesday and Wednesday. So in principle, it's going to be similar, with a Monday reception and 2 full days. Some people have meetings on the shoulders, like on before and after the conference, so they will adjust their travel plans for that. But this is the overall organization of the conference. We have a schedule, and I'm not going to go over each thing right now, but we'll share this with you. And I think the thing to note here is that normally this is organized into blocks, right? First round of rehearsals, second, third. So until we hear the last one is the conference itself. So everything that is here is also in the following slides with checklists and everything. So coming back to the deliverables, I think everything that we're going to talk here will cover these 3 pieces, right? The presentation itself, the knowledge base and report. Normally, I like to say that it's useful when we leverage what we are learning when you are developing the story for the presentation, when we're developing graphics, the flow of the story. If we can leverage that as much as possible in the knowledge base and report, right? I think we should. So the report, like the presentation, should really focus on the value. Why should people use what the outcomes of your project, right? And what are these outcomes and how they use? So I think there is this flow of perceiving the value and then how to use that should be reflected in everything that we do, right? You want to capture the attention of people when you are presenting. You also want to capture the attention of readers of the report. So this slide is more to say, everything we're trying to do is to create a compelling case for the outcomes of your research. And this should be, applicable to all the deliverables that you are preparing. Some presentation guidelines. So it's going to be face-to-face, right? So we're not planning to have a virtual component so far. Who knows? But the expectation is a face-to-face conference. I already talked about the time. The guidelines, we recommend 3 to 4 presenters. I'd rather have 4, and that would allow a little bit, for backups in terms of in case people can't travel for whatever reason. And last year we have. Hopefully this year is going to be better in terms of travel plans, but last year was really challenging, right? Normally we ask industry members to lead the presentations, and academics present as well. But normally, one section of the presentation, more like a supporting role. So, and also we'd like to see some diversity on the stage, right? Overall, so I think those are things that we hope we could have, like industry members leading presentation and some diversity in the panel presenting. No hard copies or handouts. Everything goes in the conference app. More presentation guidelines. So we'll have a conference app, as I just mentioned. But you are welcome to use other tools like Menti. I think last year we had teams using Menti, and it worked well. If you do that, using Menti or something else, we really need to coordinate with the AV folks, and Michael Burns here can be our point of contact for that. Definitely, I would like to see that confirmed by rehearsal 3 and tested in rehearsal 4. No later than that. I already talked about Michael and the handouts. So videos. It's okay to use videos, but I think this year will be a little bit more strict on permissions. We did have problems in the past with YouTube blocking our videos because of content, of copyrighted content. So if you are producing your video, that's fine, right? We had teams last year bringing a case study as a video, testimonials, demonstrations on how to use a tool. That was all good as long as it's short, right? 3 minutes feels a long time in a live presentation, right? But if you are using someone else's videos, we really want to make sure that you have the permission to reuse, that will not run into trouble when we incorporate the video and share this online. Q&A, again, this is, take it at this point with some caution. The plan is that we'll have a facilitator on stage that will take the questions through the app and read it to the team, and then the team coordinates the response, right? So probably have one person assigned to direct the questions to the other teams and say, hey, John, maybe you can take this one. But everything is going to go through the Q&A through the app, and look for the facilitator that CII will define for the conference. The dress code, it's going to be business attire, jackets. We're making ties optional, but we ask that if someone is wearing a tie, then everyone should be compatible, right? Just no jeans. I think that's the bottom line here. Presentation slides. We will give you a template. It's going to be ready by mid-April, hopefully, and hopefully in time for rehearsal 1, in time for rehearsal 2. So we'll provide a graphic designer to polish the slides. So it's going to be a one-point work, right? So at the end of rehearsal 3, you'll revise your slides, And then you're going to send it to the graphic designer, who's going to send back in time for the last rehearsal. So when you get the slides for the last rehearsal, it should be basically the final slides. We don't want edits after that. So the time to do changes is rehearsal 3 and after that. So that's in July, basically 2 weeks before the conference, you want to lock the slides. Yeah, so we talked about that. One thing that we recommend is, as much as we can, as we develop nice graphics in the slides, I think we should incorporate them in the in the knowledge base page, and maybe even the report. But more on that later. I'm not going to go over examples, but you'll have access to this slide deck and be able to look at some examples. I don't know, it's hard to find the absolutely best, but we picked some that we thought were good, good references. So we can click on these links here and open some slides and presentations as well from recent conferences. We will ask you to provide a summary of your presentation, and this is just a 100 words, blurb, maybe a couple of paragraphs, really telling like RT, 380 did this and that, and practitioners can use this to do something, right? So very short. There are 2 reasons for this summary. We'll use this when promoting the conference, and we'll use a version of this to the little intro video when you are walking to the stage. There will be a video. We always create this video that introduces the team. So this summary here will help us on both fronts, promotion and the intro video. More on that later. I added a few examples here, so you can see what I mean by that. Again, I'm not going to read this. You can read in the slides. Example 2, 3 examples. And now I just wanted to do a quick exercise. I don't know if you have teams, people with all the teams here, but I would like to ask you to go quickly to, I'm going to share this link with you through the chat. If I can figure out the chat. So this is going to take you to Miro. And I'm sorry, RT380, you can disregard what I did that for yours. I was playing with this. So if your team is here, I would just like to take like maybe 4 minutes for you to do this. So here's the idea. Just say, what's the topic? What's the problem or opportunity? What's the outcome? What's the purpose of the outcome? So if you can just do this for your team in 4 minutes. If you have multiple people, what you can do is just to grab a sticky. You can just write there. You can double click anywhere and click and create another one if you have multiple people working on it.
Hey, Daniel, this is Nancy. I'm using your link and it keeps asking me for a login and a password and so forth, and it's not working.
Anyone had that problem? Let me share. I'll share again this. Let me see here. So I can't replicate it because I'm logged in already, because this is my account. But if anyone can have an idea to help Nancy, can she not log in and go forward?
Okay, it seems to be working now.
Okay, so I'm gonna just count here 4 minutes. Anyone, is it kind of clear? So I think I put all the teams here. If you can just go there and for RT381, you can type in what you think your topic is. And this is just to get you started with the summary. So hopefully you can come back here and start to get the summary done. So you don't have anybody for the other teams? I don't see.
Hi, Daniel. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Sorry, I had an internet unstable. Can you send me again the link in the chat?
Yes.
Oh, thank you.
Daniel, for RT380, we plan to have a meeting in early April. So I imagine we can refine all this at that time.
Yeah. I just want
Okay.
you to get started with the summary.
Okay.
But this is not going to be anywhere near the final version. I just
Okay.
want to get people thinking. So, and you're half. So I see RT382 there working. So so you don't have anybody with RT383 or?
Yeah, Daniel, I'm here. I'm working in it.
Okay.
Taking a little time.
And you can just type in on the screen. It's okay. Like. It can be as rough as it gets. Like this is not going to be anywhere near the final version. And we are going to keep the link, and we are going to share the link via email, so you can come back here, and Nancy, after you all meet, you can come back here and paste your final summary.
Just that's good.
Okay.
Because I, for one, am terrible at this template, but I'm sure Guy is better.
Also, Daniel, hi, this is Sarah.
Hey, Sarah.
I was able to open it, but for some reason it's very dark on my screen. I can't even see it. Is that normal or am I having something else happening here?
I'm not sure. Let me see where you are.
For instance, I see a green cursor at the bottom of the screen and it's moving again, but I can't see any of the writings or anything. Whereas on the Zoom screen, I can see it clearly. It's only when I click on the link that's in the chat.
Okay, well, we'll figure out. Don't worry. We're actually out of time.
Okay, sorry.
So what I'm gonna do, as I said, I'm gonna share this link. I just wanted every team to get started here.
Okay.
And as I said, like it's not gonna be the final anything, but I will share the link, and you all can come back here later and add the final one. Okay. So I'm gonna go back to the presentation. So the intro video, I mentioned it already. I added a link here. You know, most of our recent presentations will have an example. I'm not going to play it here. You are welcome to open the link when you get the copy of the slides and see how this works. Really, what we need is the presenter name, the company name, organization name, your title, and a photo. Some years I think we use photos. I think most years we do use photos. So a nice high resolution photo that we can use. You know, everyone is going to see this. It's going to be in the big screen, so a nice picture. So we'll need that for all the presenters. The
Daniel,
knowledge.
does the audience then get to see everybody who was on the team?
No, everyone who's presenting.
Oh,
This is just for the presenters. We can talk if you wanna. You can have a chance to show the team in the slides. We can discuss that later. But the intro
Okay.
video just introduces the presenters.
okay.
Knowledge base page. I don't know. I mean, if you ever went to a CII CII page, you know that every research project that we have has a page with an overview and key findings, right, of the project. So, and we do that. You don't have to do that. What we need from you is the content, is the text that goes in the overview, right? We'll create the page, but that's what we mean when we say the knowledge base page content are they are the content of that web page. And we have 2 templates that we'll also provide to you. That if you fill in those 2 templates, 2 files, we can build that. Our goal is to deliver this early this year. You know, not every team will have a report by the conference, but every team, every project needs to have a knowledge base page. That's where people go to learn a little bit more about the project after the conference. If there is a report, even better. If there is an Excel tool, even better. So we'll put everything in the knowledge base page. We'll even put the recording after the conference. We'll add the recording of the presentation at the knowledge base page. So we provided a couple of examples, but there are hundreds of examples in our knowledge base. So if you want to see examples, you can click in these 2. Otherwise, you can go and explore the knowledge base. Changing here to the report. And I used the example of one of the teams presenting this year, RT380. I hope the team is okay with me sharing this example. This was started like months ago. They really started early, and it was really helpful. From my end, I started understanding how they, what they were accomplishing, and what's the structure of the outcomes. So I'm sharing here. They first provided an outline like this, and I highlighted here. We do an executive summary. And then, we start with introductions and then covering the current state of things. So we want to bring the value first, right? Just like in the presentation. We don't want to start explaining the methodology for the research. That's a more academic procedure, right? We want to start saying, this is the problem, this is the value, right? This is why this is important. And then as you move down here, you can add methodology and, and when you end, of course, you'll talk about the conclusions. But if you can include a vision for the future, right? Things that maybe you didn't solve, but it's a team's vision for the future. That, I think that's also a nice component of a report. And then I added here, they added by each chapter, they went objectives, methodology, results, like what they did in each one. There were some key figures that this chapter, so this is included, appendices. Normally, I'd like to contain the report to 50 pages, and that wouldn't include the appendices, right? But we really don't want a super big report with a lot of details on methodology, so that can go in an appendix. This is to the industry practitioner. This is not an academic publication. We really think that when industry members write pieces of it or help at least in that outline, the report gets closer to this goal of being something that industry practitioners relate to. So I think it's really important that industry members participate in their writing. So leverage the presentation graphics, right, and storyline to the extent that it makes sense. That's one thing. Really, by rehearsal 1, I'd like to see an outline for all the teams. So next time we meet, there will be time in the meeting to review an outline. And you see, for some teams, it's already done. So, but if you have not, you want to see at least a rough outline the next time we meet. Our goal, and if we cannot publish everything before the conference, we cannot publish all 6, 7 reports before the conference. So our goal is to publish 2 to 3 reports ahead of the conference and publish the rest after. Really, first come, first served basis. So, you know, when we meet next time, we'll ask for, you know, a delivery date. But knowing, as you know, knowing that we'll be able to receive your report by May, June, it's going to be really helpful to help Michael Burns organize his work. You know, is a queue of reports to be reviewed, edited, laid out, and published. So we'll provide examples of reports in folders. But I really think that, again, each team will have a different structure of the report, right? Each one has a different take on, like, what is the main outcome of the research, may look different across the teams. So I showed an outline here, but we are open to discuss different formats, you know, as long as it makes sense to the industry practitioner. So we're going to move on here to online rehearsals. But maybe I should pause here for any questions that you may have at this point. Should have stopped more, but anything that was not clear so far?
Hi, Daniel, it's Bruce.
Hey, Bruce.
Are you going to send out this presentation?
Yes.
Okay,
we'll share it.
Yeah, because we have a presenters meeting coming up, and I want to share it with those that we're selecting.
Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, thank you for coming. Yeah, Christy will send in an email. We try different things. I think sharing via email is going to be our approach for this year. So I'm going to talk a little bit more on the expectations for, you know, the rehearsals. For each one, you know, be mindful, as I said at the beginning, maybe not everyone needs 4 rehearsals. Maybe someone needs 5, right? It depends on how comfortable the presenters are, and you know, maybe the team already has a vision, or maybe that vision is being built. Last year, I think there was one team that really struggled to build a vision, while others were faster. So I think it depends, and we are happy to adjust. So the first thing is, like, when we are going to meet for the rehearsals. This is a little bit of a logistics. So Christy, when she follows up with an email, she's going to send 4 links that each team will respond. Now, it's 1 response per team. So when you enter the availability, you are entering the team's availability, not your personal availability. Otherwise, it's going to be way too complex to schedule this. So the interface will look like this thing. It's called when to meet. So it's not hard, but there is one thing that gets people stuck. You enter your name. You have to enter the name, because as we scroll in this thing, it's going to show who has responded, right? And the darker the color here on the right, it means that more people are available at that time. So we need the RT name. You can say RT, you know, 380, 381. That's all. You don't need to add a password. Then you'll see this step 2 here, and you will enter. Just drag, like, and mark the team's availability here on the left, and on the right you will see everyone's availability so far. Okay, so that's it. There is not a button to click to submit, and that's, I think, where the counterintuitive thing. There is no button to submit. You select this, and that's it. When you leave the site, you know, the availability is captured as you left. So just be mindful of this. I think some people get confused with the lack of a button to submit. And ask Christy. You can ask her if you have any trouble doing this. So rehearsal 1 will have I'll call it storyline development. There are no slides. It's the team talking to me, Tracy, and other people that are invited, about what makes sense to your presentation. If you have some key images that really are really important, that you know already that are important, you can bring it. But really you want to capture this idea of the value, what makes your story compelling. And Tracy will talk more about that. So that's really rehearsal one. We have some recommendations here, right? If you can rehearse an elevator pitch before ahead of time, that's better, that's good. Key figures, so be mindful of that. And I will skip, this is like agendas that we are already preparing for when we meet. So I'll share with you, but we'll keep updating you on all these conference items here, venue and date. Every time we meet, we'll know more and we'll be sharing the most up-to-date information. So then we have here a checklist. When you are done with rehearsal one, there is a checklist for what you need to think ahead, like think next. So we'll be, if you have not done yet, we need to provide your availability for rehearsal two. Hopefully by now, you'll have all of them scheduled. You'll have to develop the KB materials that are due on rehearsal two. You have to confirm your presenters. Last year was hard to get confirmation of presenters. Hopefully this year is easier. But by rehearsal two, we'd like to lock on the presenters. Work on the first deck of slides. So while rehearsal one didn't have a deck, rehearsal two, we should have, halfway deck of slides. So when if possible, get the presenters to rehearse a little bit before. Hopefully, not, if you can't, we'll rehearse on rehearsal two. That's what we have it rehearsal for. But if you have, if the team is available, please give it a try before. When you meet for rehearsal two, that's going to be May. We'll go over the full presentation. Tracy will be there again and provide feedback. Then we'll be talking about KB deliverables and discuss the progress update, the report progress and deadline. And I forgot to say on rehearsal one, we'll be looking at the outline. And so again, the agenda for the rehearsal, checklist for the rehearsal three. So you need to work on the report. You need to review slides and prepare a near final slide deck for rehearsal three. Rehearsal internally if possible, and really think about travel logistics at this point. Rehearsal three, that's going to be June, most likely, the timeline. Really, when we'll rehearse there, you'll get feedback. And after that, we'll do revisions. And then the slides are going to the graphic designer. So really close to final here. Again, you will present without interruptions. Tracy will give feedback. I talked about the slides, and then we'll be giving updates on conference plans. Any AV needs at this point, I think we need to really lock, videos, Menti, other apps that you may be using. We'll be talking about confidence slides. Now, this is tentative. I think in the two last years, we had a confidence monitor that would show slide notes to the team. And it's up to each team whether or not you'd like to use that. But if we have this year, by rehearsal three, we'll be talking about it. That's the agenda for rehearsal three. We'll talk about confidence monitor slides and a checklist, looking at what's next. We'll be thinking about seed questions and really working on the report, particularly for the teams publishing early before the conference. You need to be purchasing your flight if you haven't done yet, hotel reservations, and prepare confidence monitor slides. So, and finally, here we should have a final deck of slides, and we're going to go over that. And the emphasis here is more fine-tuning the delivery, right? Again, Tracy will be there and giving comments, providing comments. And really, after that, we'll be scheduling time on stage. So we have short stage visits the day before the conference. 20 minutes each team just to check, know your way around and talk to the AV people and Michael Burns to make sure that everything is, they are aware of any videos, any switch of slides. And then discuss progress updates, if applicable at that point. That's the agenda, the path forward, really just to get ready for the conference. And then the little travel logistics here, what happens on Monday. We'll have rehearsals at, oh, by the way, I forgot to say, we have rehearsal rooms available if you want to meet. That's not on the stage, but there's a separate room if you want to meet with your team. We normally have that there. So rehearse if you want to, and we'll have rooms for that. Visit the stage. That's what happens the day before. And then, first day of conference, second day of conference, and then that's it. Orientation action items. So check on time here. I think we're good on time, but I think the main thing, there will be an email summarizing all this, but the main action item, I think at this point, is to provide the team availability for the rehearsals. Those are the links that Christy will share with you. I don't know if we're doing 2 hours. I think it's more 90 minutes, right, Christy?
For the rehearsals, yes. The first hour will be primarily with Tracy, and then we'll do admin stuff following that.
Okay. So draft the presentation title. So you go to Miro, and we'll provide that link again, and start adding options for title. Just start it. Don't overthink it. The first one we'll never use a first title there, right? Normally we go over 2 or 3 options, but get started. So when we meet next time, we have a couple of options, and then we can brainstorm and maybe, choose one or work on a third, fourth option. So, and I have to add the link here. My apologies. I will add before I share this with you. And obviously, if people are not, for those that are not here, we'll share a recording of this video. And then you can go over the Miro exercise again and work on your summary. And then also start thinking of the presenters. And if you remember the Miro space, there are spaces here for the presenters to add, like the presenter name. We have 4 slots there. And also who's going to be the point of contact. Normally, I think I was thinking about this. If there is one person per team that can be responsible for all the communications, that probably saves some emails. When Chris is communicating and asking for deadlines, maybe the PI, and if not the PI, a second person. If you have those people identified, it's probably more effective than just seeing everybody that is presenting, right? Because some presenters may not be involved in delivering the report or other things. So really define here who we should be contacting for the administration of this process. Then your presenters, then your little summary here, and at some point we'll have seed questions there. So really Miro will be kind of our repository for a lot of things. So we can all do work offline. And so you'll have this link. Actually, I think I can already add the link here. Okay, so in that is my part. There is a checklist with a lot of the items that I discussed. I'm not going to read all of them, but you can print it and use as a checklist for this process. Well, I will take any questions at this point.